Hey guys, what is up? It is Matt1998 here, and I am back with a brand new video. Finally back with part 34 of my F1 2014 Career Mode series here for the Russian Grand Prix today at the Sochi Autodrome. And obviously, first of all, well, the first part of this video will basically be me apologising for the fact that there's been no upload in 2 weeks now. It'll be 2 weeks since my last video has gone up, the Japan Career Mode episode. That went out 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks after that it's been this. So obviously, I do have some explaining to it, which I'll do a little bit later on. But we did have an R&D objective to complete in practice, which I'll sort of be showing you in the background. But mainly what I'm going to be talking about is pretty much where my channel will be going up until F1 2015, the direction of my channel, and how frequent uploads will be. Unfortunately, the past couple of weeks is kind of a sign of things to come, because unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I do have exams coming up, and unfortunately, they are taking up a lot of my time at the moment, so I'm unable to focus on YouTube as much as I really want to. Really, my mind's wanting me to focus on revision, but my heart's on YouTube. But at the moment, unfortunately, the mind has to win. I have to focus on revision for my upcoming exams. However, that won't mean that uploads will be stopping completely throughout the exam period, which goes from about the middle of May to the beginning of June in England. So, pretty much how it will go, this episode will obviously be out today, and probably in a couple of weeks will be USA for Career Mode. Maybe the Q&A part 2 will be out before then. But I think uploads will be a lot less frequent. Hopefully I'm going to have about 5 or 6 uploads over the exam period, so there won't be literally a completely quiet period on my channel. Hopefully I will have uploads going up quite frequently for you guys to enjoy, because that's what you're subscribed for, obviously. But I'm sure a lot of you are also in England and around the world, do know the stress of exams, really, and how much work you need to put into them in order to succeed. So, yeah, unfortunately it's taken up a lot of my time at the moment. As you can see in this R&D objective, we have pretty much completed it, just coming around with our final lap now, but hopefully you guys understand that, just something I need to get off my chest, so hopefully that's okay with you guys, and hopefully you can understand that. You've been alright with this sort of stuff in the past. You can see Freddie getting a really big oversteer moment at the final corner. He ran a little bit wide, and he just seemed to lose all grip as he sort of track extended ever so slightly, and that launched him into the wall, and that's really not the best start to the weekend, despite the fact that he did actually end the session fastest. But a very strange crash there, and that's already put Freddie on the back foot for this weekend. Hopefully that Ferrari car is not damaged too much, and hopefully the team can fix it in time for qualifying. As you can see, we still ended up fastest by 8 tenths of a second, which is really strange. I don't know why. That's because we obviously did crash quite early on in the session, but maybe the AI didn't actually bother even improving, or the game was just messing up again. But anyway, guys, let's now get into the qualifying report. Q1 was led by both Mercedes cars, but Ferrari weren't far behind, perhaps indicating that there'll be a close fight for the win. Home favourite Daniel Kvyat impressively ended the session in 9th, but an engine failure right at the end of the session meant that he would start in 16th place. More misfortunes would strike Lotus driver Pastor Maldonado, as he was unable to make Q2. Adrian Sutil was the other major casualty. In Q2, the Sochi circuit was proving to be extremely challenging for the cars and the drivers. Nico Hülkenberg had a very scary moment going around the tight left-hander as his suspension failed, meaning that he was starting 15th for tomorrow's Grand Prix. Just a few seconds after that, Fernando Alonso suffered a brake failure at turn 1. He was able to get his Ferrari car back to the pit, but his team were unable to fix the problem in time. Jensen Button was extremely frustrated with 13th, as he believes that McLaren have the pace for a mid-points finish.
A bit frustrating, it's quite quick corners and you're that close to a car in front, it damages you, and he was on an in-lap, so that's a pity, because that would have been in the top 10. And we've got interesting straight line speed compared to our competitors, I think, in terms of ratios and also downforce levels, so I think the first couple of laps should be quite interesting for us.
As a result of all this, Jean-Eric Vergne got into Q3 for the first time this season. Q3 was the moment we have been waiting for since Singapore last season, as Freddie Gray took his second pole position in his Formula 1 career, beating Lewis Hamilton by just under 2 tenths of a second. Nico Rosberg took 3rd spot, but the two Red Bulls a further second back. So with Freddie Gray proving that it might not be a Mercedes dominance come Sunday, we're in store for another epic Grand Prix. So here we go then, guys, the Russian Grand Prix today. Obviously Freddie Gray starting on pole position for the second time in his Formula 1 career. He's hoping to convert that pole position into a race victory today to close that gap to Hamilton even further. It's now over a race victory, so we're aiming to reduce that to around about a race victory this time rush. But we've got Team Radio.
We have the new R&D part available for this race, so expect DRS and downforce improvements.
So that is brilliant news just been revealed there from the Ferrari teams. We have got overall DRS and downforce improvements. That is absolutely amazing. So obviously a track like Russia, downforce is quite essential around the tight left and right-handers. So that should benefit us greatly in today's Grand Prix. Will hopefully allow us to keep the two Mercedes cars behind, which who obviously do have better mechanical grip than the Ferrari. As you see by a quick glimpse of the strategy there, we are aiming to do a 2-stop today, pitting the option tyres for the middle stint and then the prime stint at the end. Obviously, the Merc strategy will be revealed a little bit later. But anyway, let's go out on track now for the Russian Grand Prix. So obviously our teammates starting quite low down due to reliability issues in qualifying. We're actually starting the race on -2 laps of fuel, so Freddie's going to put it down into the lean mix for the best traction possible off the lines. The lights are illuminated above the drivers now. 5 lights, and away we go here for the Russian Grand Prix today at the Sochi International Circuit. And Rosberg's got a much better launch off the line than Lewis Hamilton. Rosberg has already leapfrogged his teammate up into 2nd place. Hopefully Rosberg can do us a favour today and beat Lewis Hamilton. That was really help us out massively in this Drivers' Championship. As you can see, going down to turn 1, it seems as if Hamilton's actually regained that position on Rosberg as Freddie cuts turn 1 ever so slightly. But as you can see, Hamilton has actually retaken that position from Rosberg because he had the inside line for turn 1, so that actually backfired for Rosberg in the end, getting that great start, so that's a shame for him. So it has been another very successful start from Freddie. Already pulled out a gap of well over half a second on Lewis Hamilton, the car behind, but I think what his aim is for the rest of this stint is just to try and defend from the 2 Mercedes cars, because they will obviously come back at us later on in the stint. There are clear improvements in this Ferrari car. That's what Freddie noticed more than anything throughout this first stint, but Hamilton and Rosberg were the early challengers in this race. Hamilton going to go around the outside of Freddie here. Obviously, it's the first lap, DRS is enabled, so Hamilton almost forcing himself out wide there, just overshooting the corner a little bit. As you can see, Hamilton forcing Freddie on the curb there, and Hamilton actually retaking the lead. So not great for Freddie there, as he does lock his front right tyre. So Hamilton, I think, might pull away here, but I think Freddie's going to put it into standard mixture now, and might put it up into rich mixture for the pit straight, and he might try and get him back with the DRS. Obviously, DRS is enabled on the pit straight and the back straight around Sochi. Obviously, this track is quite difficult to overtake, but the DRS zones are the only real places where you can overtake, so Freddie obviously has to make the most of that. As you see, shifting up into 7th gear here. He is obviously gaining with the slipstream on Lewis Hamilton. The slipstream is quite overpowered here. Lewis Hamilton does set the fast lap unsurprisingly. At 1:42.5, he's on the pace at the moment. And Kevin Magnussen surprisingly in 4th, but Freddie actually goes inside Lewis Hamilton, and Freddie has maintained the lead. But what happened there to Nico Rosberg? So we saw that there was a dot, and we looked behind ever so slightly, and it seems that there was a Mercedes car that had actually gone off the track for some reason. So let's have a look at this. It seems as if Nico Rosberg just went straight on. I'm not sure if that's a mechanical failure or anything. Obviously, he must have just locked up or something, because I can tell you guys, he did continue after this, but very reminiscent of the mistake he made in the real-life 2014 Russian Grand Prix, where he locked up at turn 1 and obviously had to give the position back to Hamilton. That sort of ruined his race from there, because he flat spotted his tyres. But Rosberg's now quite far behind, and Kevin Magnussen, as I was saying, with his amazing start up into P3 on so many occasions this year. Kevin Magnussen just come out of nowhere. Kevin Magnussen has been one of the best drivers this season, really, just in terms of starts. But as you can see, Freddie trying to go up the inside of Hamilton there, and Hamilton does just have the straight line speed and the DRS on the Ferrari driver, so Hamilton does maintain that position, although we do seem to get better traction out the corner. Might dive one up the inside here. Hamilton cuts us off, but Hamilton's being quite kind here, giving us loads of room, which is quite surprising actually. I wouldn't expect a driver like Lewis Hamilton to give us that much room and that much respect. Hamilton's normally quite an aggressive driver, but now skipping on to lap 7, I think Hamilton's going to be with us again here. He's going to have the DRS once again. And in fact, the 2 cars behind, I believe, are Kevin Magnussen and Daniel Ricciardo, were catching up with us at this rate, because they're holding each other up so much with this battling here. Obviously, it's a great battle. I think all the fans really want to see this battle between the 2 championship rivals. But then Lewis Hamilton, for some reason, just forced himself out wide like he did before. And I think he's now lost 2 positions to Magnussen and Ricciardo. I'm not actually 100% sure. But as you can see, Freddie clearly gave Hamilton enough room. So that was really just Hamilton's fault there. Just the AI being incredibly stupid as per usual. And that did cost Hamilton a good 2 seconds. But on lap 8, just a lap later, it really didn't take Hamilton that long to catch up, which kind of just shows us that our tyres are beginning to wear and we do need to pit quite soon actually, probably this lap. I think we are due into the pits at the end of this lap. Obviously we'll get a team radio message in a second to confirm that, but Hamilton is going to go around the outside of us, and Hamilton very easily up into the lead because his tyres are just a lot fresher for some reason, even though he is on the same tyres as us. Anyway, team radio.
Okay Freddie, the tyres are clearly worn. Box this lap for a set of options.
So yeah, we do need to pit in this lap for a set of option tyres. You can see Freddie getting all sorts of oversteer out of the exit of that corner just back there. Now Magnussen and Ricciardo, I think, or it might even be a Williams, I'm not 100% sure. But as you can see, Hamilton is also pitting in with us, so we might try and get the jump on him here. So who are the 2 cars behind us? I believe that is Kevin Magnussen and Felipe Massa. So both 2 cars actually surprisingly running well in this Grand Prix today. So that was really just a shame that we had to lose the lead to Hamilton there. So I think this next stint will just be all about us trying to catch up with Lewis Hamilton again. I'm not sure what tyres Lewis Hamilton will be on. He might be on the primes. I think that's going to be revealed to us in a second. You can see, I think that's Rosberg and Alonso passing us on the mini-map there up into the lead. So obviously, neither team would double stack. That would be a bit stupid. But so yeah, we have rejoined in 4th position. Possibly 5th is that Bottas that might actually rejoin ahead of us. We're going to look the side here, and Bottas is just behind us. So we have actually maintained that position at the expense of Valtteri Bottas. So Valtteri Bottas almost getting ahead of us. So that would have been quite costly if we did get ahead of us. Obviously that Williams with its awesome straight line speed and traction would have easily gotten ahead of us and would have held us up even further. But it does seem as if we have much better pace than Lewis Hamilton. That indicates that Lewis Hamilton is actually on the prime tyres. So obviously that will benefit us more as we'll have more grip through the corners. You can see with the DRS now, we're going to easily make a move up the inside. But in fact, no. Hamilton actually defends very well there, just keeps calm and just cuts Freddie off. And Freddie really should have been more aggressive there in my opinion. But now skipping on to lap 10, we're going to get the DRS once again. And I think we might go around the outside of Lewis Hamilton. We're going to have to wait and see what Lewis Hamilton does. Let's see whether he changes his line or not. No, he's not. And we're going to have a free move up the inside. And we are now up into the lead. We do go a bit wide, but we do maintain that position. And we are setting purple times at the moment. So this will be the fast lap of the race by the looks of it. But now, skipping on to lap 17, not much else really happened because Lewis Hamilton on the prime tyres and the slower tyres really was no match for Freddie. As you can see, we have got the Lotus of Pastor Maldonado, who is just ahead of us at the moment. Nico Rosberg did make his way back up into 3rd position, as I believe he was on the option tyres for this stint. So I'd watch out for him later on, as well as Lewis Hamilton, who will be running the option tyres at the end of this Grand Prix, because obviously he was running the prime tyres in this stint. But anyway, team ready?
This has been a fabulous drive so far, mate. Box this lap for a set of primes. Hamilton will be fitting the options.
So the Ferrari team has just confirmed that to us there. So Lewis Hamilton will be on the option tyres in this final stint. So that'll make things incredibly interesting. So Lewis Hamilton will seemingly be challenging Freddie towards the end of the Grand Prix. There is 9 laps to go now, or 9 or 10 laps to go. I didn't actually tell you guys this, but there is actually a 14% chance of rain, so even the rain could spice things up a little bit. So we are in for a very exciting finale here, guys, the final stint. So with Lewis Hamilton on the option tyres potentially challenging Freddie towards the end, and with the rain possibly spicing some things up as well, this could end up getting quite crazy and pretty exciting. So we've got to wait and see now. Lewis Hamilton obviously staying out an extra couple of laps because he was on the prime tyres in this stint. So hopefully our pace on the prime tyres isn't too bad. I don't think the gap between the pace on the options and the primes are too large. But the fact that we managed to pull out such a huge gap to Lewis Hamilton behind us in the middle stint sort of showed us the pace difference between the option and the prime tyres. So Hamilton will be right on us come the end of today's Russian Grand Prix. But it was on that very same lap that Lewis Hamilton came to the pits for a set of option tyres. So that's extremely interesting there. So Lewis Hamilton obviously reacting to Freddie's pit stop. So the question is now, will Lewis Hamilton be able to catch up in time? Because the pace difference on the option and the prime tyres is quite big actually, the pace difference between the two tyres. But now on lap 27, as you can see, there is no sign of Hamilton. The gap behind is 12.4 seconds, so it's actually increased for whatever reason. So that is incredibly strange. So Lewis Hamilton obviously just didn't have the pace there, and those upgrades that the Ferrari car had have seemingly paid off, paid off an absolute treat here at Russia. But now here on lap 27, the rain is beginning to fall quite heavily, and the grip levels are beginning to drop ever so slightly. As you can see, we're just about to lap Jenson Button and Romain Grosjean, who are stuck in about with the Sauber of Esteban Gutierrez ahead for P13. So really not a great race for Jenson Button. Obviously, he was saying after qualifying that he was hoping that the first couple of corners were going to be quite important for him. I do believe he actually lost his front wing during that period, so that really was a huge shame for Jenson Button. Just hasn't gone so well for him. Obviously, Kevin Magnussen, I believe, is actually still in 4th place at the moment. Not 100% sure on that. We're going to see in a second as we do that Gutierrez for the final time. It has been a dominant drive from Freddie ever since the start of the middle stint. He's going to come across the line to win the Russian Grand Prix.
Absolutely amazing, Freddie. You've done all of Ferrari proud. Now let's maintain the momentum going into the final 3 rounds.
So fabulous drive from Freddie. In the end, a really dominant drive ever since that first stint. His pace was just way too much for Lewis Hamilton, despite the fact that Hamilton did close the gap by a good 2 seconds on the final lap, because Freddie obviously had to encounter traffic, and he did have obviously a reduced grip as well. So let's have a look, see where the others finished. Fernando Alonso down in 6th position, so a good recovery drive from him in the end after starting in P13, and Sebastian Vettel all the way down in 9th, and yeah, so that was about it really. So now in the driver's standings, as you can see there, we are now exactly a race victory behind Lewis Hamilton. So after Japan, we were all quite negative about everything. Freddie was just thinking that his chances were pretty much over. But, even though we've only finished 1 position ahead of Lewis Hamilton, the gap is down to a race victory now. With 3 races to go, anything can happen. Hamilton could have a retirement in either one of those races. So I really hope you guys are looking forward to the next one in USA. It is an absolute cracker, so I would recommend tuning into that. But anyway, guys, if you have enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.